Alcohol, a beverage designed to induce pleasure and happiness in an individual. However, this beverage can also be classified as a drug. The side effects of alcohol are definitely alarming and dangerous. For example, my roommate came back yesterday and said that his girlfriend had a hangover this entire weekend. Clearly, this beverage is accepted by society, but that does not change the fact that it is still considered a drug. Therefore, my speech will focus around the major claim that alcohol should be majorly classified as a drug and not simply a party beverage. I will support this claim with three major focuses: the definition of a drug, the short-term effects of alcohol, and the long-term effects of alcohol. Merriam-Webster defines a drug as something, and often an illegal substance, that causes addiction, habituation, or a marked change in consciousness. Due to the wide variety of alcoholic drinks and the ease of access to these beverages, many struggle with alcohol addiction, depression, and other side effects. Similar to other drugs, alcohol contains chemicals that interact with one's brain. Some of these alcoholics remark that they don't remember what happened after an event occurred and they were under the influence of alcohol. These chemical behaviors in the brain cause a change in the user's consciousness and prove how alcohol is truly a drug. Specifically, I will now move into the short-term effects of alcohol usage and its close tie to other drugs. Like many drugs, alcohol influences the brain in both positive and negative ways. While the initial reaction will cause the user to be happy and feel uninhibited, it will also erratically change behavior in the individual. Robert Taibbi, author of How Alcohol Affects You, states that from the medium to the heavy consumers of alcohol, this beverage has been shown to cause feelings of anxiety, depression, and aggression. He also discusses how alcohol is a depressant that slows brain activity and affects your coordination and perception, as well as causes memory blackouts. When an individual has a memory blackout, they don't remember a single thing that happened in a certain event when they were under the influence of alcohol. Clearly, this is a change of consciousness if they perform behaviors without recalling any of the actions. Even after consumption is over, the next day one can still have a hangover due to the lack of water and glucose in the brain. Not only are these side effects dangerous, but the memory blackouts can go from being short-term to long-term. However, lifelong forgetfulness is just one of many long-term possible side effects. Addressing long-term effects of alcohol, there are two major topics that I would like to discuss: memory lapses, as I've already mentioned, and fetal alcohol syndrome. Alcohol damages the brain, which leads to these memory lapses on a lifelong and long-term scale. Obviously, if the brain is damaged, then this will cause memory lapses, which also is a change of consciousness because they won't have the same brain that they had before. However, not only is the beverage harmful to the user, but it can also be harmful to, say, a woman's fetus. Fetal alcohol syndrome is a syndrome that occurs most often when the babies are in their 8 to 6 weeks of brain development. As lectured by psychology professor Cassens from IBC, which is Irvine Valley College, fetal alcohol syndrome, which causes physical and cognitive abnormalities, is greatly increased if a mother drinks between the 8 to 16 weeks when the baby's brain is forming. It causes the frontal lobe to be damaged and the brain will be shriveled, thus forever changing the consciousness of this baby. Therefore, because of the effects of alcohol and its drug-like qualities, alcohol should not be considered an acceptable party drink, but rather a harmful drug. Thank you.
right, the subject area is identified, your proposition is stated, the phrasing on it is a little complicated, and I'm not exactly sure what the controversy is. I don't know that anybody disputes that alcohol is a drug or that it has the effects that you're talking about, so that part of the speech seems mostly informative in nature. Now, there might be some dispute about whether or not alcohol should be perceived as being safe to use for recreational purposes, and in particular whether alcohol is safe to use for recreational purposes among particular groups. Even then, I'm not sure that there's a dispute, for instance, on pregnant women consuming alcohol or people of a certain age consuming alcohol. Again, I think there's widespread acceptance and consistency on that. There's no controversy on those things, that there are potential dangers there. So really the only issue is whether or not it's an acceptable recreational drug for people to use, and that's where you get into a value argument, because you have to be able to classify whatever the risks and the benefits are, and obviously most of the benefits are going to be value-based as opposed to quantifiable. And I think that the argument never really gels. Now, what you do is you cite your information very clearly. That I thought was effective. You're consistent about giving source citations. That's fine. You have a good way of speaking to the audience. You use good vocal variety. I'm just not sure what the argument is about. It sounds to me like an informative speech about the dangers of alcohol, which nobody is going to challenge. All right. Thank you.